Hi, Matthew Mona here with Mobile Syrup, and I've been using the iPhone 6s Plus since it first came out back in September of 2015. It's been about 6 months since its initial release, so I figure it's the perfect time to talk about what's changed, what's new, and most importantly, is it still worth the purchase? The iPhone 6s and 6s Plus introduced a more powerful processor, a slightly better camera, more RAM, and a new feature called 3D Touch. The design stayed the same as the year before it, which is typical on an S cycle, and Apple still offers the ludicrous option of buying an iPhone with only 16 gigabytes of storage space. Now, I'm not going to list all the specs of this phone since it's been out for quite some time, but I will place a link in the description down below to our review that we did late last year. So let's start off with some of the things that I liked about the iPhone 6s Plus. And the first thing is the camera. Even though it's not a big upgrade from last year's iPhone 6, it's still better and manages to take some of the best photos on a smartphone. The video is great too, with the inclusion of optical image stabilization on the 6s Plus, and now with the option to shoot in 4K, you end up with some really nice footage. Next is the design. It's the same as the iPhone 6, and even though it's 1.5 years old, it's still one of the better designs on the market today. But my favorite thing about the iPhone 6s Plus is definitely the battery life. I've reviewed a lot of phones in 2015, and none of them last nearly as long as the iPhone 6s Plus. It's the first phone that I truly don't have charging anxiety with. I know I'm going to make it through the entire day and night without needing a charge somewhere in the middle. And finally, performance. The 6s Plus used the Apple's A9 chip, and when you pair that with 2 gigabytes of RAM, you get a very smooth phone. Its predecessor, the 6 Plus, suffered from not being able to have too many apps open in the background, requiring you to reload apps every time you switch between them. The extra RAM solves this problem. Apple's ability to optimize their software with their own hardware pays off, and you end up with a phone that runs fast and fluid. But of course, there is no such thing as a perfect smartphone, and some reports indicate glitches and issues from battery life to Wi-Fi not working correctly. Now, the only bug that I really experienced with the iPhone 6s Plus was Safari crashing. Every time you tried to tap on the URL button or type something in, it would completely crash and you had to reload Safari. Thankfully, Apple fixed it fairly quickly. So 3D Touch was supposed to be this big change to the way we use our phones, but to be quite honest with you, I never use it. In fact, the only time that I do use it is as a cursor to move across the keyboard or as a trackpad. Maybe we're too caught up in our routines for another feature, or perhaps we just need more time for developers to make it a worthy one. Now, while the majority of high-end Android smartphones have made their way to QHD displays, the iPhone 6s Plus still uses a 1080p one. It's a good display and I'm fine with 1080p, but every time I turn on my Nexus 6P or Note 5 and stare at that AMOLED panel, I wonder if Apple will ever make the switch. There's something to be said about those deep blacks and vibrant colors. Now, as a person who's used a Nexus device for over 3 years before switching to an iPhone, why can't I simply share a photo directly from Drive to Instagram or from Photos to Hangouts? Why do I have to download it first to my phone, then go into the app and then select it in order to share it? It seems like an awfully lot of steps to do something that is very simple. And finally, the bezels. I like big phones, more screen real estate, and better battery life is usually the result. But the bezels on the iPhone 6s Plus need to be slimmed down, especially when you compare it to other phones on the market, such as the Galaxy Note 5, that have a bigger screen but a smaller form factor. Alright, so here are my closing thoughts. The iPhone 6s Plus is definitely the best iPhone that you can buy today. It's fast, it's fluid, and provides a very good user experience. Now, if you're coming from Android and don't mind a bigger screen, I highly suggest the iPhone 6s Plus over the 6s because you're going to get more screen real estate, much better battery life, and optical image stabilization. Now, for those of you that feel the 6s Plus is too expensive, especially with the weak Canadian dollar, the older 6 Plus is still a very good option and will last you years to come. Now, I want to know what you guys think of the iPhone 6s Plus in the comments below. I want to know what you like and dislike about it. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And don't forget to visit us at www.mobilesyrup.com.